Oh, hi there. Uh, I wanted to talk about something as an involuntary celibate, and that's probably going to bring that troll out of the woodwork who's been, commenting on my some of my videos, and I haven't liked what he's had to say, and he's probably a lot worse about it, on other forums and things like that, rather than talking to me directly. Anyway, as an involuntary celibate, I don't often get the chance to socialize with women, which is, the major problem that involuntary celibates have is that they don't get to communicate with women too often for various reasons. For different people, it's for different reasons. And as I said, it's not just uh, men; it can also be women as well. But specifically, the topic I wanted to bring up in this is the fact is actually I have been on dates with women a number of times in my lifetime, um, like either to fast food restaurants or other establishments and things like that. Go for a hike or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. I've done that stuff before. Uh, you know, Not really anything special, but for an involuntary celibate, it's a real big deal. But somebody else will go, "Yeah, what a loser! You didn't even score afterwards." And dick, that wouldn't be funny, but it's true. Um, anyway, the point I wanted to make was I noticed something about Canadian guys. A lot of them have this thing where they don't like paying the bill, or they want to share the bill, or something like that. And there are actually women out there that, you know, go along with this. Now, I understand that, the woman obviously doesn't want to look like that they're just, draining the life out of the male for their own profit because there are some people who negatively look at that. I do not. I think if you go to a restaurant, you go to see a movie, or go to a roller skating park or whatever, I think as the male you should pay for it. And I'm not one of these guys who expects to get action because I paid for something. Of course, I wouldn't reject it, but I don't expect a score even if I spend 20, 50, $100. In fact, I spent $2,700 on skin toners and things like that, and I wasn't expecting action at all. Didn't get any. I got 4 hugs. That the woman, she was the one who came up and hugged me. She probably got a commission, probably like $100 or something. Who knows? But I did that for other reasons. Um, as I said in a video that I made on my other channel. Um, yeah, I was able to prove some things that I already knew about myself, like being in a bubble, being in a voluntary celibate, and all that kind of thing, as well as actually, really making a statement as well. Those sort of combination of the reasons why I spent $2,700 on beauty products and scoring. Although it would have been all right, wouldn't have said no to that. It actually wasn't the reason why I spent that money. And I look at it when I go, if you go to I don't know, anywhere that requires a little bit of money being spent, I just don't think it should be the woman who should do it. And you know, um, there are guys that do think it is, and part of it is when I was younger. Uh, Obviously, my dad and my mom split up, and my dad moved out. And this is when my mother's boyfriend started entering the picture. And it was his goal to move into the same household, my house, um, with my mother and us there. And it was his plan, and I know this, to have me and my brothers kicked out at the time. Uh, because he had some notion that he wanted part of the house, and it's a long stupid story, okay? But I resolved that issue. I made him go away, and he was the type of sleazeball that would make my mother pay. My mother didn't care because she put it all on credit cards, and then my dad would end up paying for it. So I already got this kind of bias. I don't like sleazy guys who expect the women to pay, even if the women aren't directly paying because of the work they do, because they got a sugar daddy or whatever. Or sometimes they're just they're a little bit better off. But I already have this thing in my head where I don't like that type of guy. And I've even heard stories where, like there have been men who have had, women pay for, things to have to do with their vacation and things like that they have together. And, like more than, a 50-50 split of, expenses and things like that. I've heard things like that. And I mean, of course, the only example I can directly bring up is my mother's ex-boyfriend, and this happened many, many years ago. I was still a teenager at the time, and I made it quite clear that I didn't like him, and eventually he went away. Um, but yeah, like it was just like if you don't have the money and they do, and it's a vacation thing and it's part of what is what they want to do at the time, that's kind of understandable, although I would personally not feel good about it. Like it would just be something like not to say it deflates my ego or I feel like I was beaten. uh and I'm not into what is called findom, financial domination. I'm not into that at all either. I'm just saying that it's a precious thing to go on a date with an attractive woman, and when you're on that, um, you know she should be able to spend her money on the things that she wants to spend it on, not in the dating circle and things like that, because some guys dirt beat bum. And I don't like guys that think like that. And obviously, their finances and your finances are two different things. I guess until you get a little more serious in the relationship, and then they might start looking at your money like it's their money, and then they start telling you can't have any more hockey jerseys and things like that. That would not be good for me. But um, yeah, as far as little things here and there, and it's a stretch, but even on vacations and things like that, if that did happen or whatever, where it worked out that they paid more, I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't do it normally, but if it were the difference between going and not going, and they really wanted to go, I'd go along with the decision. But inside I'd be like, this isn't right. I don't feel good about this particular aspect of this situation. Um, and there aren't a lot of guys who've been out of work for a year who can say that, but I can. I can. And obviously I'm not just going to throw my money away. Although I did make mention that I spent 2,700 bucks on beauty products because of a young woman who had persuaded me to buy them, and it was expensive, and she kind of ghosted me afterwards. That was probably for her own benefit anyway, and I think that may have been for a combination of reasons, not all having to do with her. In fact, I think most of the reasons had nothing to do with her, and I think it was just people who wanted to enforce the bubble. that I'm in, and didn't want any women coming around because she was a real go-getter. She was, she wasn't going to take no for an answer easily, but somebody came along and told her no. And it wasn't me, and I have no idea who the fuck it was. But it proved a damn point it did. And to me, that was worth what I paid for, among the other things it was good for. So, as I said before, it was a calculated decision. Um, but yeah, like on little things, here and there. Yeah, it's not an issue. Like just man up. Uh, I can't believe this is even a subject, really, but it is. It's just like if you're a guy who pays for everyone, they go, oh, he's a creeper. They think he's just after action. That's all he wants. I mean, that's not entirely true, but at the same time, I'm not going to say no if it happens. But it's not true. Like I can spend $50 on a date and then be like, whatever, see you later, or they do whatever they want afterwards. That doesn't bother me. And as I said, it's not a findom thing either. It's something else, okay? And I lack the proper vocabulary to describe it. I just don't like the type of guys that expect the women to pay. I don't want to be like them. I don't want to act like them. And, I don't think that they should be able to think that they're so high and mighty and, feel that great about themselves. I mean, obviously, uh, a male's got to have some confidence, or else if the woman going with said male, that will decrease her confidence if he doesn't have confidence, and obviously that's not a good thing. And the same is vice versa. But I am gonna say there are a lot of guys out there that think they're all that in a bag of potato chips, and they are not. And they're the kind of people who take great amusement in hearing about fellas that are involuntary celibates, such as myself. They think it's real funny. Well, you know what? There are other things that I think are really funny. And, as soon as I find out what the scene is and what's going on, I will act in a reasonable manner to implement what I think is funny. I think I can do that with pink slips, actually. I got a lot of pink slips. Which, in case you don't know, is jargon for telling somebody that they're fired. And as an avid Donald Trump supporter, I might just have the capability to do that. And those sleazy fuckers are gonna be on the top of the fucking list because their jokes aren't funny. They're not cool people. I don't care how many people they know. I don't care how many parties they get to go to and things like that. I do not want to be that type of person. I don't want to associate with that type of person because you never trust that type of person. And I don't want to be involved in a social circle where predominantly what is considered the modern day male intellectual is running rampant in the cult of personality aspect of that social scenario, because these people are just like, they're terrible. They are not intelligent people at all. As it were, just because the social climate, things are to their advantage. But something could be to your advantage, but that doesn't mean that you're better or more intelligent. And I'll always remember it was those type of people that helped contribute me being an involuntary celibate, and it was all founded on baseless claims. And it is those people who enforce it, and as I said about in other involuntary celibate videos I've made, they enforce it for their own selfish reasons. Because it's just one less guy in the dating pool. There's just a whole wide variety of factors. Just because they're jerks and this is their outlet, is to, pick on the one wounded duck in the bunch of ducks, because that's what ducks do, because ducks are actually assholes. They look nice and friendly, but you see that one of them's injured or something like that, and you see all the other ducks be assholes to that duck, and then you understand that no, they have a streak of asshole in them. And that is the same thing with politically correct modern day pseudo intellectual men. So to summarize, I prefer paying for dates, and it's not because I expect to get anything out of it. It's just the way I see things, the way I've lived my life, and my experiences as a younger person. I don't like seeing some sleazy, uh, dude come into the picture and, pretend that they're all smiles and laughs until things don't go their way. And then they're the type of people who can get angry and get a lot angrier. And it's like they get away with it. But a guy like me, as an involuntary celibate, I rarely feel coarse to get angry. I actually, it's not that I, don't get mad at things sometimes. Obviously, everybody does. But, they try, particularly on the internet, I notice, because, I don't get that much interaction with people directly. So on the internet, I notice I could tell someone to fuck off, and then it's like they turn around and go, "Oh, you're angry. Oh, why you being defensive? This, that, and the other." And during this time, because I've had many lengthy conversations, I look at what they've been saying and what the names they've been calling me, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Look at all the names you've been calling me, and this, that, and the other." And there was one time where I had to make a comment. I'm like, "Look, dude, you're telling me I have anger management issues? Look at what you just said on Facebook. As far as all the, conversations we just had, it sounds like, I said something that you just didn't agree with, and, not that I was wrong about it, you just didn't agree with it, and it really seemed like, a hemorrhoid exploded on your ass. And yet you're turning around and saying, I'm the one with anger management issues. I'm the one, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I don't think that's true. I think you're the one who's got anger management issues, and you're hiding behind a computer screen where you're not actually talking, on the computer directly. You could be anybody. With Facebook, having pictures, having a profile does not mean you are that person. Somebody can grab your pictures, make a fake timeline, and, especially if they know you in the real world, and they could pretend they're you. And I am concerned that there are people who are running around with my profile and saying things I didn't say and all that kinds of stuff. And again, it's those sleazy fuckers who have that typical modern day pseudo intellectual male concept of life that are the problem for me. Part of the problem, a big part of the problem. And I don't like those guys, and they're just irritating pricks. I call it the RRD concept. I'll talk about that in another video, because that's a serious concept. It stands for the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool concept. I don't like Ryan Reynolds, in case you didn't notice. Don't like him at all. Anyway, I'll talk about that in my next video. It's nearly 3 a.m., so I'm going to upload the videos I've made, and then I'm going to sleep. Anyway, have a good one.